Hey everybody, this is the lesson 4.02 video take 2. I had recorded it previously, but for some reason the sound did not work out. So almost 15 minutes later, I realized it was a useless video. Anyway, this lesson is all about business correspondence and writing professional business letters. So you're going to learn to utilize word processing software to demonstrate professional writing skills by producing and editing business correspondence documents. You can utilize templates, utilize advanced features of word processing software, including creating macros, which will probably be the most difficult part, and describe the parts of a business letter. Okay, so in this Learn section, we've got 4 different tabs. Business correspondence just tells you what a type of business correspondence is, so make sure you read over that. Parts of a business letter, make sure you read over that so you know the points, especially full block style. Some of the things that I've graded already did not have full block style, were not completely left aligned. This means there should not be any indentations whatsoever. All sentences, every word, every character, everything starts on the left, just like this. See how there's no first line indentation? That is considered full block style. So your letters should look like this as well. Okay, templates. On the templates tab, this tells you about templates, which are kind of like a starter document to me. They have placeholders built into them. So all you have to do is change it to the information you need it to be. But each of these tab or links gives you a tutorial. So you'll see you have them for Office, this Open Office training templates, managing templates. Both of those are for Open Office, Google Docs, and Pages. So no matter what you're using, you should be able to find a template, although I think we're all using Microsoft Word. And then this is the instructions for how to create a macro. Now, I was able to do it with these instructions right here, but you can also click on this link for further instructions, okay? So make sure you review everything on each of these tabs under Learn. In the Try It section, you do need to enable Flash Player. So let me do that real quick. And I'll show you what is here in case you're not able to do this on your computer. Let's just reload this page. Okay, so I'm not going to go through every single part of this practice. This one I don't think is all that beneficial. The part I like about this is it does teach you the correct order in which to make an address. So the first thing you want to do is make sure the person you're sending it to, the person's name, that needs to go first. This is in the right place already. This is the department that Ms. Miles works in. She works for Gomez Industries. This is also in the right place. So we have the person's name, their department, the company name. So we do need to switch this around. So then we have the street address and then the city and the state followed by the zip code. So this would be the correct order. So when I submit, you can see that. Okay. These next 3 questions just want you to create a proper salutation. So for this, it would be Dear Miss Miles, followed by a colon. Okay, so I'm going to skip that. And then the other 2 parts of it I don't think are that necessary. So I'm going to go on to the vocabulary practice, which again is like the hangman. There's 11 terms here. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to show the answers. So you can go through these and use these as flashcards. So you can pause the video if you need to review them, because I'm going to go through them pretty quick. So a paper with the company's name and address already printed on it, this is called a letterhead. Okay, so you can create this for bonus in this lesson. Indicates that there are other items in the envelope. This would be enclosure. A sample or model document on which new documents are based would be template. The recipient's address typed in the letter above the salutation would be the inside address. Indicates if any other people are receiving copies of the same letter would be the copy notation. The line at the start of a letter including the greeting and the recipient's name, such as Dear Mr. Doe, is considered the salutation. A series of keystrokes that you record to automate tasks that you perform frequently is a macro. A courtesy closing, the most common is sincerely, is considered a complimentary closing. The initials of the person who typed the letter are the reference initials. The author's address also appears in the upper left corner of an envelope is the return address. And the last one, printed name of the writer who will sign his or her name in the quadruple space above this line, is considered the signature line. So again, I know I moved through this pretty quickly, but because it is a video, you can always pause it whenever you need to and back it up and rewind it to review these terms. That will help you before you take the test. So use these like a flashcard. Okay, on to the task. So you have the summary tab here, which recaps everything about business correspondence, a proper business letter, the things it should have in it. Okay, and then on to the actual assignment. So here it says, remember the pretend business you described in the last lesson where you did your business introduction. So you're going to use that to compose a business letter to prospective customers introducing this new business to them. So you can use a business template, but just make sure that it's the correct format for spacing and etc. for the requirements of this assignment. So it needs to have at least 3 paragraphs, your letter does. So first one, you're going to introduce yourself and your business. The second paragraph, you're going to provide details such as hours of operation, location, services you provide. And the third paragraph is asking the customer to visit your business or to use your service. So for full credit, you have to create a macro for your signature line also. So you're going to look at this rubric. This link to this rubric will show you exactly what I'm going to go by when I grade it. Okay, and then let's look at this sample business letter together real quick. And it also says for bonus points to create your own letterhead. So I'm going to click Enable Editing. So this right here is considered letterhead. This is the name of the business, including the address, website, and you can add an image if you like. You don't have to. Then it shows the proper spacing before you see the date line. The spaces in between that and the inside address. Salutation, your body, which has 3 paragraphs. Your complimentary closing, your sender's name and title. So in between here, this is where you're going to record your macro to do your signature. Okay. The reference initials, the enclosure, and copy to. I don't know, double check the rubric, but I don't think these 2 things are necessary. The rest of it is all in mandatory according to the rubric for you to get full credit. Again, this right here is optional for bonus points, the letterhead. I want to show you a neat little trick while we're in Word. I'm going to expand my Home tab here. This mark right here is a show hide control. So if you click on that, these little symbols show you every time you hit enter. So you can see the number of spaces, okay? So we need 3 spaces between the date line and where the inside address starts. Make sure you have a space between that and the salutation and that in your first paragraph. Again, these are going to be all left aligned, so no indentations. Okay. Then as you go on down the letter, you'll see you've got another space in between that and your complimentary closing. 3 spaces between the sender's name, space between that and the reference initials, and then these also if you include those. So you can see right here at the end of the line, when you want spaces like this, you can just simply count. You can hit enter 4 times on your keyboard. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 different symbols there for where the user has hit enter. So if you want to double check your work after you have completed typing your letter, that is a good way to use it. Again, just go to Home and this Show Hide mark. Okay, I'm going to take that back off for right now because it does kind of aggravate me when I see that on the screen. All right, another thing I want to make sure that you know how to do is when you go to the Layout tab, this is where you do your margins. According to the rubric, you have to have a 2-inch margin from the top, and the rest of them are all 1 inch. So you notice there's not a pre-built margin for that. So you have to go to Custom Margins, and you are going to have to create that. So you're going to do 2 inches from the top and 1 inch everywhere else. Okay, so that is how you do the margin. The rest of it, I think, is pretty self-explanatory except the macro. Now remember, there are instructions for this, but you're going to find this under the View tab. Here's Macros. You can click on that. This would show me if there was a macro created. There's not for this document. Okay, so that's how I'm going to check to see if you've done that. Let me go right here. So when I want to actually create one, I'm going to go to Record Macro. You can name it Signature or whatever you want to name it. Okay, I'm going to tell it OK. And you see this little symbol pop up. This lets me know my macro is being recorded. So this is where I want to put my signature. So I'm going to type my name, hopefully spell it right. And then I want to select this, and I'm going to go choose a fancy font that looks cursive, more like a signature. So let's do this. So say I want this to be what I want my signature to look like. I think I'm going to do that italic and bold, so it looks more like a cursive signature. You can increase the size a little bit. So once I've got that done, then I'm simply going to go back here until it stopped recording. Okay, so that did that for me. It recorded all the steps of that signature. So now if I want to get rid of this, do that. You turn my Show Hide marks back on so I can make sure I've got the proper number of spaces here. So I need 2 more. It's not wanting to cooperate with me. There it goes. Okay, so I can go right back here. I'm going to go back to View, Macros, View Macros. And I can choose that, and I can click on Run, and it's going to put that back in there. Now, it did not do the whole thing. It did not change the font for me, so maybe it won't allow you to do that. But what I'm going to look for when I grade these is I'm just going to go to View and View Macros, and I'm going to make sure you have created a macro there that at the very least just puts your name like this here. Okay? All right, so that, I believe, covers everything you need to know how to do for the lesson 2 task. No, I don't want to save that document. Let me just go back one more time and check and make sure. Okay. Yep. Again, review this rubric. Make sure that you look over everything that is required for you to do. And also, again, for bonus points, if you create the letterhead, make sure that you keep that part above the 2-inch margin. What needs to start at the 2-inch mark is date, where you put your date line, okay? Also make sure you do your spell check. Any misspelled word is going to have 2 points deducted for each one as well. Okay, email me with any questions.